Ever find yourself at home on a weeknight, checking an email and thinking, why am I thinking about work? Or do you wake up at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts about the project you're working on or the meeting that you have coming up later? If you've ever struggled to leave work at work, then this video is for you. You know, a lot of productivity advice just focuses on how to get more done. But today I'm gonna focus on how to stop and unhook from your workday so that you can go focus on what matters with a single habit that you can install today and reclaim your focus for what's important to you. You see, one of the reasons why it's so hard to leave work at work is our day is so fragmented. Stuff's coming at us from all different directions, and a lot of it's communication. There are some studies that have estimated that knowledge workers and managers were dealing with, over 50% of our day is just handling communications, messages, emails, phone calls, all that stuff. And it's just this constant input that pulls at and fragments our attention throughout the day. And your schedule is probably pretty busy at work. So you might be kind of stacked up with meetings or whatever until maybe the minute you have to leave. And so you are kind of rushing out the door to get home. You don't have a chance to really, deal with those open loops that have come at you through the day. And so you end up at home and you're still on mentally. So it's not necessarily a matter of like you're disorganized or you're not getting your work done. It's more like the system is stacked against you and your brain is just not trusting that it's safe to let go of all those things that came at you during the workday. And that is where the habit that we're going to talk about enters the picture. Something called a shutdown routine. Some people call it a shutdown ritual. And it's really a powerful technique. But what it isn't is like planning out your next day in detail, all the things you're going to do, having this elaborate, precise plan. It's also not clearing out every task from today or hitting inbox 0 before you go. Neither is it a complicated checklist with 37 steps that you gotta finish. What it is are simple steps to create just enough certainty so that your brain can unhook and you can go home in peace. To set up light guardrails for tomorrow so that you can come in and just jump on those rails and get started without really having to think about all the things I gotta do tomorrow. You also want to put your work inside of a trusted container so that it's not spilling over into all the other areas of your life. Finally, it's giving a strong, clear signal to your nervous system that work is over and I'm going home now. Because even though this is like a productivity thing, productivity is more of like a side effect of this. Closure on your day is really the point. So how do you go about setting up an effective shutdown routine? Well, there are 3 phases you should include in your shutdown routine to make it effective. The first phase is tying up today. And all that really means is that you're capturing any open loops from today's work. And that doesn't mean you have to solve the whole problem or have a whole plan. It's just really getting it out of your head. And you probably have some sort of habit of getting stuff out of your head throughout the day. This is just like a safety net that's added on top of that to just catch anything that you missed. So it might be like kind of looking back over your schedule and things that happened today, notes you have, and just triggering any additional thoughts before you leave for the day. And then externalizing them, getting them into a trusted system so you can come back to them in a future workday. Second phase is to set up tomorrow. And that's all about just reducing predictable friction. Again, we're not planning out the whole day. You're just looking for stuff like where's the surprises or the landmines that I might not have caught or might have forgotten about? Where are there obvious sort of low effort prep actions you can take now to make your day tomorrow easier? And thinking just about the first few things you gotta do in the day so that you can have them on rails and be able to just jump on those rails when you come in the morning or whenever you start work. Third phase is shifting your context. And this is really about the physical sort of signal to your nervous system to change modes. And that's really, it could be a physical action, it could be a symbolic thing you do, but really just sort of like that punctuation at the end of your day to say, work is done, we're moving on and getting my attention focused elsewhere. And if you want some help designing your own shutdown ritual with these 3 phases, I've created a worksheet to help you work through that process. It's totally free and you can pick it up with the link in the description. So before you go jumping into design your whole routine, there's a couple pitfalls you want to be aware of and avoid. Number 1 is making your routine take too long. You don't want a 30 or 45-minute routine that adds a bunch of time to your workday. You need to be able to tack this on to the end of your day easily without extending the amount of time you're at work. So don't put too many steps in it and try to keep it to 10 minutes or less. That's gonna help you if you are in a busy day and you don't have a lot of time, you should be able to just slide this in and wrap up your day before you leave. Second pitfall is making your routine too rigid. Like, you gotta be in my office with the right tools and the lighting's got to be just right, and I'm going to log into all these systems, and there's all these conditions that need to be in place. Maybe it's powerful, but it's fragile, because then if any of those conditions aren't in place, you can't do the routine. And so you want this to work on like your worst days. And in any conditions, whether you're in the car or you're at a hotel room, you're on the road, whatever, you are able to do this routine regardless of circumstances, because that makes it resilient, it makes it portable. So keep it simple, keep it short, and that's going to help avoid those pitfalls. The third pitfall is trying to copy somebody else's routine. And you'll run into this online if you're into productivity advice. People will put out like, this is the routine you need to follow. Problem with that is that person doesn't know what your work involves. They don't know what's important to you. They don't know where you need to look. And they certainly don't know the parameters of what stresses you out as a human. So it's much better to intentionally design your own shutdown ritual rather than, trying to copy somebody else's. You're not going to get the same effect from trying to graft somebody else's process onto your world. So by now you've probably figured out that you can't just build a shutdown routine by arbitrarily just picking steps. You have to be able to step back and look at how you are thinking about work at the end of the day. Because most of us are just too close to the action when we're in our day-to-day to really redesign our routines clearly. And that's where a guided process can help you. It helps you to externalize your thinking, to see it clearly, and to design intentionally around what matters. It's also not a one and done process. You need to come back and revisit your routine, because obviously our lives and our work changes over time. And so iteration will help you to match it to your circumstances more appropriately and make it more effective over time. So if you want help to do that and step back, see the big picture, and design your shutdown routine with intention, the worksheet is linked below. It is totally free. So check that out, because the goal isn't just productivity. It's being able to stop and unhook